locked up in no one meant to be a prince of motherland. Then he stood out, taking all the small brothers and sisters sovereign. Don't you cry, I'm trying to find a method to read your heart and mind in time. He was just a little Buddha, searching for a way to live his life. This rebel was a little Buddha, seeking noble truth that was hidden behind those four walls that he once knew. He left behind for me and you. I know you know this little Buddha. Number one in the boots. I'll want to the deepest part of me and strip my attachments. Then you see what it truly means to be. He was just a little Buddha, searching for a way to live his life. This rebel was a little Buddha, seeking noble truth that was hidden behind those four walls that he once knew. He left behind for me and you. I know you know this little Buddha. Number one in the boot too. I know you know this little Buddha. Number one in the boot too.
The purest time in nature found in the early spring and fall. These are the days when hearts of life become one with self and all. In the spring the gentle breezes in its most sustaining way lifts our longing spirits beyond the toils of life. The purest time in nature's realm in the early spring and fall. These are the days when hearts of life become one with self and all. The autumn sky is golden haze in its radiant splendor, tells our searching heart the flow of nature's ways.
Namanda, 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 Namanda. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Dharma family service on this sunny April Sunday morning. I'll address some of the holidays that we may or may not be observing. But first, we'd like to begin with Sutra chanting, and we'll chant Juseige, which is on page 23 in the small purple book. Namanda, 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 namanda. Shogak Gaomunyoko Fui Dai Seshu Fusai Shobingu Seifu Shogak Gashi Jobutsudo Myosho Chojippo Kukyo Mishomon Seifu Joshogak Ryokujin Shonen Joe Shubongyo Shigemu Jodo Isho Teninshi Jinniki Endaiko Fushomu Saido Shoujo Sankumyo Kosai Shuyakunan Kaihichi Egen Meshi Komoan Heisoku Sho Akudo Tsudatsu Zen Shumon Koso Jomanzok Iyoro Jippo Nichigatsu Shujuki Tenko Onpugen Ishukai Hozo Koseku Dokuho Jodai Shichu Seppo Shishiku Kuyoi Saibutsu Guso Okushu Tokuhon Ganeshitsu Joman Tokui Sangayo Nyobutsu mugechi Tsudatsumi fusho Gangaku erik Toshi saisho son Shiganya koka Daisen okando Kokusho tennin Touchin myoke Namo Amida Butsu 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 Ganni shikudoku Byodo seisai Dohoten modaishin Ojo an dako Namo Amida Butsu Namo Amida Butsu Namo Amida Butsu Namanda Butsu Namanda. Okay, next let's recite the three treasures, and it's on page 3 in the same book. The three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. Oh yeah, I forgot, that's what I gotta say. Happy Easter. It feels kind of strange for me to say it, and yet I think for many, many people today, whether Americans or just around the world, right? Today is a very special day for many people, not everybody, right? That Easter has, part of why I want to say Happy Easter is just out of respect for Christians who observe it, right? Jews don't observe Easter, I don't think. They got Passover, which was maybe a week ago, right? There's these different kind of overlapping holidays or holy days, right? These special days. And so, for Christianity, certainly today is a very important day. For me as a Buddhist, not Christian, I still think Easter is interesting, and I feel like it kind of coincides with maybe some of our celebrations. And so, thinking about Easter, right? There's a Christian aspect to it, right? Which is the resurrection. Jesus Christ coming back to life, right? After having been crucified. So that's this resurrection, coming back to life. Now, I don't think it's coincidence that when we go outside and the flowers are blooming, the sun is finally out, right? That there's also a pagan aspect. We might call it pagan, right? Or this kind of nature aspect to Easter too, which is spring. Right? So Easter is kind of interesting, right? It's got these different layers. And it's a lunar holiday, and so that's why it's different. It's not like our April 8th, always on the 8th of April for Hanamatsuri, right? Easter is lunar, and so that's why it moves around, and you have to be like, when is Easter this year? Is it in March? Is it in April? That it's one of those lunar ones that moves. So if we think of the nature aspect of Easter and rebirth, spring. But also, what's one of the cutest symbols? Oh, we got one here. Bunnies, right? Rabbits, right? And so rabbits, bunnies are part of the symbology of this kind of rebirth of spring and Easter. There's another one. Anybody going Easter egg hunting today? Right? The Easter egg, right? And so that egg, rebirth, right? Birth, new life. So those aren't necessarily Christian, right? This is more nature, maybe ancient nature kind of practices. Oh, one of my favorites around this time, what's the commercial we see a lot if you watch TV? Cadbury Bunny. Buck meow, buck meow. Right? It's like all the different animals who are auditioning to be the Cadbury Bunny, right? And there's a lion, the big roar, and I forget what else is in there, but I know the cat, right? Buck meow, buck meow. And so I think that the Cadbury Bunny this year was a special needs cat for the first time, a special needs animal that was selected to be the Cadbury Bunny for this year. So, these ideas of spring and rebirth in that sense. Now, we just did our spring celebration, huh? What, 2 weeks ago? It was a little late, so 2-3 weeks ago, in Buddhism, in Japanese Buddhism, for us, springtime is Ohigan, right? Ohigan, spring Ohigan in this case. We also do fall Ohigan, because it's tied to the equinox, when the sun and our day and night are equal. That's the first day of spring. Right? So Ohigan, in one sense, is totally a spring holiday. Right? And so that's one thing that I've been kind of thinking of, like for Easter, right? To think about this and think about, well, as a spring celebration today, right? That we can think as Buddhists, one aspect of it is the Ohigan aspect, right? And we're still kind of in that time. And so what is Ohigan? Part of it is the perfections, this kind of heroic journey to become a Buddha, to be a Bodhisattva, and to do the paramitas, the 6 paramitas, or the 6 perfections. Right? And so Grandpa delivers pizza every Monday and Wednesday is how you remember it. Okay, right? Grandpa delivers pizza every Monday and Wednesday. And we talked about that a little bit a few weeks ago. I think Gary T. Groundhog introduced it, so you can go back and watch that video. But basically, to me, the most important things, and this is, our ideals as Buddhists, our core values. Be kind. Be friendly. Right? Have this loving kindness for others. To try and be kind to others. And the other one, be aware. Right? To try and have awareness of, it could be all different kinds of things. But really the basics to me are be kind and be aware. For Buddha, who's perfected them, that's compassion. Compassion for all living beings, not just certain ones, not just ones of certain nationality or certain race or certain whatever. and not even certain only humans, right? That Buddha, the compassion extends to all beings, all living things. And then that's the be kind part. So we want to try to be like Buddha, to try and be kind. And the other part, that awareness, is what we call wisdom. Right? And this is Buddha's awakening, right? Buddha's attaining enlightenment and seeing things as they are. Right? So that's what I call be aware. I'm not going to get there anyway. Maybe you can. We can try, right? Try and perfect the 6 paramitas. They're perfections. If you could perfect it, boom, see things as they are. Be kind to everyone. Right? And so that's really hard. And so another aspect of Higan that I think is important is balance. Right? Trying to find this balance in my life. And to me, the classic teaching of that is the middle way. The middle way. Right? And so in one sense, maybe I want to try really hard to be like Buddha and be perfectly kind to everybody, right? To become awakened, to be, totally enlightened. Right? Maybe I can't do that, right? And so if I can't go all the way, maybe I can think, well, forget it. I'm just going to be mean. I'm not going to care. I'm just going to walk around mindlessly. That's the opposite, right? Too far in the other direction. So instead, I want to try to walk the middle way, right? To try and find this balance in my life and to find a middle way. With those values, those goals of the 6 paramitas, of this kindness, perfect awareness, right? Perfect compassion, perfect wisdom. That's what Buddhism is about in so many ways. And so those are my ideals, those are my values. But it's really, really hard, right? A couple of weeks ago, I talked about the Rita, Tari and Rita, Mo Korita, right? Mo Ko Rita, this idea of helping others with no thought of myself, selfless, right? That's part of Buddha's compassion. When Buddha does things, it's not for himself, it's purely for others. And so that's a goal, that's an ideal, but it's extremely hard to attain. And so realizing, well, I can just be totally selfish. I can do things only for myself, right? I've been there. I do that, right? So this selfishness, it's almost like kind of a value of America sometimes, right? Just don't worry about others. Get what you can, right? Just take what you can get with no thought of others, right? That's the opposite. And that's something that, although I may find myself doing it, is not a way that I want to be. I don't want to be like that. So maybe I can recognize these two kind of poles, right? Selfless and selfish, right? And I'd love to be selfless, but I really can't. I don't want to be selfish, but I often am. But somewhere in between, right? The middle way, this balance between trying to think of others, but also taking care of myself, taking care of my own, sometimes falling into selfishness, but walking this middle way, finding the extremes, and then trying to walk a middle way in between. Now, sometimes I think about it and I think, is that like compromising too much? Is that going to be, maybe sometimes that we could get kind of complacent, right? Maybe sometimes I allow myself to fall too far to the selfish side. But I'd like to think that this isn't just like I found the way and now I'm doing it. And instead, it's constantly looking at this. It's always changing, right? Sometimes I fall too far in one direction, sometimes I fall too far in the other, and I have to adjust, right? And I have to think about these things. It may be something I didn't even think about, right? Maybe some aspect of it, and I realize, whoa, I'm too far in this direction. Well, pull back, right? Find this middle way. What I like about it is it's a path. I think that's one big part of Buddhism, is a path, right? That we can find a path. Maybe we never had it before. Maybe we weren't aware of it before, right? But then we begin to listen to the teachings of the Buddha, right? And realize, maybe I didn't like the path I was on before. Maybe I wasn't on a path. I was just wandering aimlessly, mindlessly, selfishly. And then I found, Buddhism, what's that? I want to learn more. Right? And realize, that's a path I'd like to be on. Right? And path to what? Sometimes it's pathless path, but I think also path to Buddhahood, path to becoming Buddha oneself, with 6 paramitas as one way to get there, but then for us also with Nembutsu. Right? So that's for us, our path is a path of Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Right? Reciting the name Namo Amida Butsu and living my life, trying to walk this middle way. And then, of course, we have some holdovers from Hanamatsuri from last week. Do these belong to anybody here? Anyone forget? If you forgot, grab them. Don't grab them if it's not yours, though, because someone else. These look really little Toshiyori, Nuigurumi, right? These kind of older stuffed animals, and so I think they're really precious to someone. But, you know, Hanamatsuri, just yesterday was the actual day. We did ours last week, and if you came last week, it was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of people. Even watching it online is nice to be able to watch the Reverend Umezu's message. Only about 20 people watched at that time, but then 2 or 3 days later, I looked at the video and it had 250 views. And anybody here, did you watch it? I thought maybe Umezu-sensei watched it again and again and again. But, I'm sorry, Reverend Kodo Umezu, because I talked to his daughter, Reverend Amy Koe Umezu, and I told her that. She's like, well, my dad must have been busy because it's up to 299 now. It's over 300 now, so I don't know who watched it that many times. But Hanamatsuri is our other spring, going back to this kind of Easter theme, right? And so I thought, maybe it doesn't match though, because Hanamatsuri is Buddha's birthday, right? Jesus Christ's birthday is Christmas. So kind of different timing. But if we think of rebirth, right, that Shakyamuni, that was his last birth. It was actually a rebirth, right? Because he's had these multiple lifetimes before as a bodhisattva, again and again and again and again, perfecting the kindness and perfecting that awareness, perfecting the dana and the selfless giving and the compassion, perfecting the perfect wisdom, seeing things as they are, all one, no self and other, just this incredible, mind-blowing experience that he had of awakening. And so maybe we can think of Hanamatsuri too as kind of this birth celebration, right? So if you didn't get a chance to watch that, you can watch and feel like, oh, I'm pretty close to Hanamatsuri. You know, it was yesterday for us. But then Higan also, we're still in the springtime. And so, you know, even if you're not Christian, if you are Christian, happy Easter, you know, it's a really special thing. But even if you're not Christian, but we're still American and out in regular society, so that's how I think of it, is as this spring kind of event, right? And I can appreciate Easter for this rebirth once again. The flowers are blooming, right? Flowers bloom, and flowers fall too, right? It's part of our Gassho to Amida, right? And yet, another cycle, right? Getting through another year, encountering, we made it through the winter. This was a rough one, right? And so we made it, and here we are at spring, and we can enjoy being together as a Sangha. We can enjoy being with others who aren't like us too. That's the one last thing I'd like to share about Hanamatsuri is last week we had a visitor who comes and visits a lot. She's Christian. And someone, you know, was asking her, and she's like, why are you here? And she goes, oh, it's Hanamatsuri, I wouldn't miss it. Right? So as a Christian coming to celebrate Buddha's birthday, it's possible. What a concept, right? To be able to accept other people's belief. To not be like, mine's the only one, you're all wrong. No, right? That, yeah, mine's good, but I can appreciate the goodness in other faiths as well. And that comes home when we're open and realize that other people feel that way towards us too. Right? Not to judge people, not to assume before we even, oh, you're Christian, well, you must believe this and whatever, whatever. No. Let them be themselves. Right? Appreciate them. Appreciate their belief. And especially when you realize, oh, they're appreciating my belief. They're appreciating our beliefs. I think is really, really special, an important part of being American. And, you know, it doesn't always look that way, but I want to encourage that for us too, as Buddhists, to appreciate, especially on this special day of Easter. So I want to thank you so much for joining us, and why don't we conclude Dharma Talk with Gassho. On this Easter holiday, appreciating aspects of it that are not Buddhist, appreciating aspects of it that appreciate this coming of spring and this idea of rebirth. So let us try and walk the middle way. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. Okay, our organist is here, but the organ's not turned on, so why don't we just move to announcements? And we can turn it over to Robert Noguchi. Okay, let's see. Okay, should be ready to go. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Church of Oakland. Thank you very much for coming, those of you there on site at the church and those of you watching online on YouTube. I'd like to thank Reverend Bridge for his Dharma Talk and officiating today's service, as well as Reverend Endo, Michael Endo. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Steve Todosaki for playing the organ, although he hasn't played yet. And our host one group, chaired by Gary Tominaga, and for those folks providing hospitality for those of you at the church today, and the Zoom crew downstairs in the office taking care of the Zoom presentation through YouTube. So thank you all very much. Also wanted to say thank you to all those who came last week to Hanamatsuri. We had a wonderful turnout. It was a beautiful day. Reverend Kodo Mezu was our guest speaker, and we had a little retirement reception for him afterwards, and it was just really nice to get together and see everyone again, reunite and visit with old friends. And we had some guests as well and some visitors, so it was really nice to have folks there too. So thank you so much for coming to Hanamatsuri last week. We hope to have other events and services, things like that coming in the future.
And welcome back, because a couple of them are here.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming back. That's great. Just a quick look at the calendar. Next week, actually, it's coming up at 11 o'clock. We're going to have our Shotsuki Memorial Service for the month of April. So those of you who are here for that, please stay for that. Next week, which is the 16th, which will be our Pets Memorial Day. And let me go down. If you scroll down on the BCO website, BuddhistChurchofOakland.org, this is the Pets Memorial form here. It's next Sunday, April 16th, although the text down here says April 24th. I think that's from last year. So pay attention to what's on the form here. Next Sunday, April 16th, will be the Pets Memorial Service. Okay, going to the Buddhist Churches of America, BuddhistChurchesOfAmerica.org, BCA. There are a few events coming up. First, a Hanamatsuri Carnival down in Orange County. For those of you who are down in that area, that'll be next Saturday and Sunday. The Federation Dharma School Teachers Federation Dharma School Teachers League, FDSDL, will have their annual conference April 29th and 30th at the Palo Alto Buddhist Temple. And keynote speaker will be Reverend Candace Shibata, from Stockton. And then also another event happening in June, Yoga, Buddhism, and a Healthy Lifestyle. That'll be at the Jodo Shinshu Center in Berkeley from June 9th through 11th. So all these information and registration, things like that, are available on the Buddhist Churches of America website, BCA, BuddhistChurchesOfAmerica.org. Going back to the BCO website, there are a number of ways that you could donate. We appreciate and accept awards, donations of any kind, and we thank you very much. We really appreciate your support for coming and supporting the Buddhist Church of Oakland. So with that, I'll return it to Reverend Bridge. Thanks so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Robert. Well, this will conclude our Dharma family service. And so I'm just getting some music ready. Why don't we conclude with Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. Okay. Oops. What happened? There we go. Okay, thank you.